and welcome to Between Two Williams. I'm your host, William, and joining us today we have William, an aspiring arts teacher. So, William, you have been a teacher in training for about 5 hours now. Are you going to tell me how to raise my kids? Actually that brings up a pretty good point. We're not actually here to tell you how to raise your kids. We're here to teach them knowledge and skills that they can use to become considerate adults in the future. So no, we're not here to raise your kids. Okay, moving along. So last week I had Dr. Carl on the show. He was saying how STEM, that's smarts totally earning money for you normies out there, is the way forward to a better future. What are you here today to talk to us about? I'm here today to talk about arts education and how they can benefit students' engagement in school. Would you like to comment on rumours you were picked last in a game of Duck Duck Goose? No. Actually, can we please move on with this interview, and can you keep it related to the assignment on task? Okay, William. Reflecting on your 5 weeks teaching arts to kindergartners, how have your experiences shaped your understanding of effective arts teaching practices, the necessary content knowledge, and your insights into how young learners engage with creative activities? Finally, a real question. Well, this was actually my first formal teaching experience, and it occurred very early in my teacher education, just 4 weeks into a 2-year master's program. In terms of effective teaching practice, I learned that managing a learning environment goes beyond behavioral management. It's about structure, clarity, and routine. For example, we had to reorganize the seating layout during one session to support student-focused engagement. That change significantly improved the way students interacted with the space and each other. Planning and differentiation also became essential. When I noticed the uncertainty many children displayed in unfamiliar learning situations, I was actually genuinely thrown by how shy the kids were in week 1. I expected bouncy energy, wild questions, but instead they were tentative. They needed trust. That's when I realized that before they can learn, they have to feel safe, emotionally, socially, and physically. We had to earn their engagement. Right, so what did this tell you about how to actually teach? This highlighted the need for highly scaffolded learning with shy learners and using familiar materials to build confidence. For example, for skills and physical-based activities, we broke them down into their smallest component parts, an isolated movement, a single sound, or structuring the stroke of a pencil. This steadily increased their confidence and engagement. For verbal input and group sharing, we used familiar images and items. For example, we used a picture book about native birds in Canberra, which allowed students to make personal connections and express their observations. Prior to that, you may not have believed that they'd ever seen a bird in their lives. My understanding of content knowledge in the arts also developed through all this. It's simply not enough to be familiar with artistic technique. I need to know how to translate those ideas into language and activities appropriate for kindergartners. The content needed to be both accessible and meaningful. Students, I found, were most engaged when they recognized connections to their own lives, for example, identifying birds they'd seen in their own backyards. And I also gained insights into how young learners engage with creative activities in different ways. In one activity, we encouraged open-ended craft work, but after seeing an example piece, many students just simply copied it. This made me reflect on how we scaffold creativity and how balancing modeling with opportunities for self-expression is important. I learned to think carefully about when when and how to demonstrate a task. Sounds like you learnt a lot, but isn't the point of teaching for students to learn? What did they get out of all of this? That's a good point. The final assembly presentation gave us a clear view of how sustained engagement in the arts builds confidence and a sense of accomplishment. Students remembered and valued their work, especially when it was shared with others. This really reinforced to me that creative learning is as much about the process and participation as it is about the final product. Additionally, observing my peers during the PCK clinics also contributed to my development. It helped me understand the complexity of real-time decision-making and the value of reflection. I saw the importance of collaborative teaching and open discussion and learning from the styles and approaches of others. In summary, William, these experiences have given me a clear understanding of what effective arts instructions looks like in early years, what content knowledge is required to support learning, and how young children learn through creative exploration. These insights will really shape how I plan, differentiate, and reflect on my own teaching in future placements and throughout my professional practice. Wow, that was actually a really good answer. Maybe next time, instead of filming an elaborate self-interview, you could just write that down and email it to your tutor like a normal person. Well, that's all we have time for today. A special thanks to our guest, William, for only trying off camera. I cannot wait to see what he comes up with after another 5 weeks of teaching. Until next time, stay reflective, do your readings, and maybe invest in a good pair of scissors.